The wait is over. You were waiting, right?
Oh, God. No. Please, no.
The end is nigh. Darwin and Cat are back.
Every radio station had this one employee, always a part-time weekender, knew everything, and if they were in charge, the station would be so much better. And let's admit it, we were all that guy at one point in our careers. But once we matured and realized how embarrassing that was, we were like, oh, yeah, I was that guy. Some people never matured out of that, though, and thus were never working anything other than weekends until they were in their 50s, being all bitter and miserable, pushing that button for the hockey game and the football game, and they're still bitter no one ever put them in charge. Or they became the one thing that everyone in every job dreads the most, a consultant. This episode is about that guy who worked weekends. He's right and you're wrong, and nobody else is ever right, except that he became a consultant.
Let's explain what a radio consultant does, for better or for worse. Our show was left alone. We did our own thing, and suddenly we were number one in our demo. Then they want to try to make our show better by bringing in someone from the outside.
Now, our entire strategy was to be the anti-morning show, but they wanted to dick with that, so they hired this dick for the task.
Like any self-respecting morning show, we cyber-stalked him right away, and it was back in the days of MySpace. We checked out his page, and we brought it up on the screen, and oh my God, his page is full of poodles. So we immediately named him Poodles. And
Poodles.
Poodles. And at the time, Darwin, you couldn't stand Poodles, the dog. Well, they irked you. They irritated the fuck out of you. And I think you're okay with them today a little more.
Yeah, I hated poodles. I don't know why that particular breed. I'd be like, oh, I hate poodles. Now I'm like, it's a poodle. It's got a dumb haircut, but it's okay.
What are you going to do? Cute ball.
I hated a lot of random things for no reason, but I grew out of that.
Mostly.
Yeah.
I was really, when they told us they were bringing in a consultant, I was really open to training because I'm a nerdy student. I love learning, and I wanted to see how an industry professional could maybe take our show to the next level. And then we realized he was everything we didn't want our show to be. He had this, do you remember he had a strict structure for what a morning show is without deviation? Darwin, the guy, talks about sports and guy stuff, while Cat, the girl, giggles.
He literally expected Kat, the comedian on the show, by the way, to be the giggle girl.
That is the name. That is the name for it in the industry, the giggle girl.
And I protested that. I was not having it because this was a show, again, the anti-morning show. Roles were reversed, and I protested that because I was like, no. Kat's the funny one. I push the buttons. Kat's the funny one.
And he wanted me to just be like, jokes are weird. I don't get them. I'm just over here thinking about my shoes. They're funny.
And sports? Oh, my God. What were we going to talk about for sports? Because, I mean, I was into baseball still back then, but now I don't care. But what? You can get that on every radio station. Didn't you? Are you the girl that caught the hockey puck at the baseball game? Like, that's your level of sports, right?
I caught it in my boobs and it made me giggle. Then he pulled out, this made me insane. He pulled out all these dumb charts, and one was a tree that he wanted us to fill out. And he said the trunk was your morning show's main topic. And he said, learn to truncate your show by using these tree trunks. I'm not Merriam-Webster, but I don't think that's what truncated means.
This is one of your pet peeves, too. You have a very big vocabulary. You're really good with grammar.
Along with the giggling. I have a master's degree in English, blah, 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 but I'm just a big word nerd.
As he's misusing this, you look at me, and I read your mind, because this is why we always worked well together. We could connect on this level. And I knew at that moment you realized going in, I was right. This was not going to be a good day. Because you're like, oh, Darwin, don't be so pessimistic.
Be nice to the guy.
Helpful.
Come on.
Give him a chance. And I said, all right, I'll go in and be nice. But this was the moment you looked over at me. We made eye contact. And you were like,
fuck this guy. I started getting hives. I started getting itchy with his stupid tree trunks.
And then he said, I'm going to share a secret with you. And he pulls out this thing, this list. And I think there's a trademark on it. So I want to say it carefully here. I think he copyrighted it. So we'll call it the weekly reader, right? Like you got in elementary school or something. What did you call it? It was like Give me a name here. What do we call it?
Wait,
What
but
did
it
you
was
call
like the pop list.
Well, the
Something.
stupid list.
All right, the stupid list. Yes.
And he's like, here's what everybody's talking about, and this is what you should be talking about. This was irrelevant then. The internet was a thing. People's minds changed quickly. We were already in a Twitter world where things were, change. And he's going weekly. And I looked at him, I said, this is so 1980s. People don't talk about the same topic all week. Maybe a few topics, but this list? What?
Do the guys listening to our show who are backing up dump trucks give two shits about this stupid list?
No. And that was an exact quote we gave him. I think you were the one who said that. And our boss is in the room and sighs because he always hated that we said that. He was, they work professional jobs and they work state. I'm a fan. I'm a listener and I wear a suit and a shirt and a tie. And we're like, yeah, we got those guys too. We know that. Sure. We have professionals listening too. The guys working in the office that are accountants, they probably wish they were backing up a dump truck. I mean, that's our audience. We know our audience.
The guys are like, hey, can you play some Avenged Sevenfold? And how's Cat's butt doing? Tell us more about that.
That was exactly our audience right there. We got it. We talked to these guys every day. They liked the quirky weirdos, us. We were different and they were okay with that. And we knew it. It was just so insulting. Things got really bad as the day went on to the point where, and we were not, I think to be fair, Kat, I think we might have always fought back. But and tell me if this is an unfair characterization. We weren't the shouting, yelling diva show, were we?
No, not at all. We were always like helping people and being nice and helping old ladies cross the street. We were really, really nice, respectful people.
The gravity of this will then set in. This turned into shouting bad. You even shouting.
It got ugly. It takes a lot for me to get my pin pulled like that.
You were hyped up. I was hyped up. I might have a little bit of a slow burn Sicilian temper. Yours went off too. Our boss is in the room with us. We're at a hotel in a conference room. It was ugly. And it ended with us being not told, ordered, the quote, the phrase, this is a direct order that you will do a segment tomorrow from the stupid list based on a topic we choose. And what did they choose for us? That was, irked me the most.
Dancing with the Stars.
And that was the one we fought the most to say. What was it? Guys that are doing what?
Backing up dump trucks do not want to know who won Dancing with the Stars last night.
They do not
or got
give
kicked
two
off
shits.
or whatever.
No, we aren't even up late enough to watch that show. And they said, no, but their girlfriends or wives are probably watching it. So they're going to want to hear your perspective.
Really? Really? Do they want to hear what I think about Barry Williams from the Brady Bunch doing the tango?
We were furious. We were so mad. I know we were so mad. I think we went either to your house or we went somewhere after we were fuming.
And we were fuming on the way home because not only do we have to cover topics, we have to cover them in the structure that they want them covered. We have to say it in the order they want it said. It's no longer our show. They're just feeding us what to say and how to say it.
I'm not sure which one of us came up with it. I feel like it might have been me because you're squeamish about farts and poops. And
this was you. This was your idea.
This was me. And I said, I got it. Because I Googled Dancing with the Stars. We didn't know anything about it. And Marie Osmond was on that season and she had happened to fart while dancing. And I said, we tomorrow are playing a game to give away Edgefest tickets, Farting with the Stars. And we are going to find the raunchiest fart sounds. We're going to play them on the air and they have to call and guess who did it. And the answer every time will be Marie Osmond, except for we won't play back the calls right away. We'll keep recording them so everyone's getting the answer wrong. And it seems like nobody is getting it right because people didn't know we recorded calls to play them back.
It's going to be a long segment. And because it's such a great segment that we have to do, we're going to stretch this out as long as we can.
And I think, we got a good hour out of it, right? And there were juicy farts. There were salsa farts.
There were like little trumpet ones.
There were big tuba ones.
There was one you didn't hear because that was the silent but deadly. But it was still Marie.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
That was innovative.
We were the fart morning show for an hour, which was not us. But you know what? Fine. We're going to do it. In short, I teach history, right? It was like the Boston Tea Party. The British told them unload the tea. They didn't say how to do it, just do it. Right? And they did right into the harbor. This was our Boston Tea Party. This was our rebellion. They were not happy with it at all.
I'm Marie Osmond, probably best known as... And I think I just want to say, don't give up. Life is a blast.
Darwin and Cat. The most famous mid-market show you've never heard is back.
We were deep into our morning show training gag, and Poodles wasn't getting through to us at all. Darwin, you weren't having it. You challenged everything that came out of his mouth. Your body language was just straight up F you. So Poodles needed to pull out the big guns. And after about a solid 10-minute battle with you, he dropped the bomb. He stared right in your face and he said, "You know, Darwin, I understand you better than you think. And that is because I am a gay man." And you looked directly in his eyes and shrugged, "So?" It was the most awkward and hilarious moment. He thought he was going to "Oh, this is going to break you down and crack you open like a gay coconut."
And I didn't give two shits. I popped this. You know that episode of the Golden Girls where Sophia's got the balloon and one of them pops it? That was me. I didn't care. I was like, really? You're going down this road like you're going to make a connection with me by coming out? Like,
We don't care who's gay. We don't care who's straight. We just think you suck.
and I did. I just looked at it. I just shrugged. It was like, so? Big deal.
And that's all he had. That was it. He thought he was going to move on to the next phase of his glorious friendship with you. No.
He thought we were going to be, and that you were some sort of fag hag or something, and that we were going to be best friends all of a sudden by coming out, right?
Let's all go shopping.
Sorry, Poodles. Not going to work that way.
Not going to happen. Do you remember another awful thing he did? He made us compete with our fellow morning shows for a day off by doing a stupid puzzle.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah. Way to build camaraderie, dickhead. So we won. And we were like, oh, God, because we were so exhausted and we just wanted a day off. But then there was a recount and Jams got the day off.
They took it away from us, but it was like, why was there a recount? I can't remember. Why did he do that to us? I feel like he wanted us to lose.
Of course he did. But Poodles was such a dick. He made us fight with our friends, begging for scraps for a day off. Ass.
Yeah, how do you build camaraderie that way? They brought us in one day separately, and then they brought all the morning shows in together. So it was like Fly 92 and B95 and Jams and us. They didn't bring in Magic or, I don't know. They
the
got
talk
out of it.
station. No, they got out of it.
That was just so mean. I don't understand I don't understand what the point of it was either.
I don't remember the puzzle, but I do remember us trying really, really hard to figure it out and get our answers. There was a buzzer and a timer, and we had to get our answers up on the board, and finally feeling like we'd have a day off, and then the crushing defeat of the recount, those dangling chads that he found.
I think he was still sour that we did exactly what we were told to do, and we totally mocked Dancing with the Stars. It was his little bit of revenge. So he rode off into the sunset, and we figured they are never, ever going to make us work with him again.
That's it. No, it didn't work out. It was a bad breakup.
We thought we'd never hear from Poodles again, but we were wrong, because the next time he snuck into town, we didn't know he was there. Even though you could stream the radio station on something called the internet, he was in town in a hotel listening to us. And then we got off the air at 10 o'clock and our boss is like, "So I have a surprise." And we get into the conference room, and then who's there?
Poodles!
Poodles. Now here we are again. And this time he has a new thing in his toolkit for us. And this one was even more asinine. Do you remember what he brought?
What'd he bring?
The scorecard.
Oh,
You
no,
remember
not the scorecard. Oh, PTSD.
you grew up Catholic too.
Very.
And I thought of this more recently. Remember, we were making up stuff on it. So the scorecard was, we had to write down every single break we did. I mean, even a weather break. So if we did a 15-second break about the weather, we needed to say how well it went. And this was a colossal waste of time. We were making stuff up. I felt like when I was a kid and I'd go to confession, where I'd be making up sins like, "Oh, Father, I gossiped today. Oh, Father, I accidentally stole my teacher's pen." Like I was just making stuff up on the scorecard. Even breaks we thought were great. Well, we lied about it. I don't know. It was just and we had to do it. It became a requirement of our job somehow.
It's kind of strange grading a weather report. I mean, we're just
or a traffic break. Yeah. So wasn't there also some wheel he brought? Some
yeah, he had
I don't
his
know,
stupid wheel.
to balance our show.
His stupid wheel of content.
Yeah, something. Yeah, we're like, make sure you're picking like a menu or some other thing.
So let's break it down. We had a tree trunk, we had a wheel, and we had a scorecard.
This was just going great. I remember this time around, he said, "I feel like you guys are very unhappy," because we did a segment about he liked one segment we did. I couldn't believe it, where he was listening in the hotel room and he said, remember it was about, can money make you happy?
Mhm.
And he said, I really like that
Yes.
segment. Oh, okay. Because we said, yeah, I can. Give me the cash.
Yes.
And he really liked that segment. He wanted us to make a list of what makes us happy and unhappy, plus questions I need answered from the heart. And we weren't allowed to work on it together. And I just thought the unhappy list was long. I remember that. Desk location was on there. And but I'm thinking, this could compromise our friendship. What if there's something on there you misconstrued or I misconstrued? You know what I mean?
Well,
like, what if there was some complaint because you weren't good at production? What if I put that on there?
right.
I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Well, it's like couples counseling. You go in and you lay it all out, and some of those things could cause a wedge instead of making those things better.
Did we need couples counseling? Because I don't think we were the problem.
No, we had a
Supported
poodle
management.
problem.
There were other problems. It wasn't you, it wasn't me, but that was driving a wedge between us.
Hey, I mean, there are always things I could have done better. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, everything was everybody else's fault. But this poodle problem was a problem.
It really started to cause a lot more trouble between us because we started. Can I talk a little bit about you?
Yeah,
if you
lay it all out.
You care about your performance so much, very deeply. It matters to you to put on the most quality performance you can. Every day on the air, it mattered to you. Little mistake, you beat yourself up over it. And I appreciate that. But also, I saw this start to eat at you.
Yeah.
You became worried about speaking on the air because you might say the wrong thing. You started to shut down because Poodles might not approve, even though we couldn't stand him. How did that feel for you?
I'm the type of person who thrives on positive reinforcement. And it's not like you have to blow happy sparkles up my butt every day. Although, I mean, that's fine, really, when you think about it. But it started to really get to me because we were hearing things from management. We were hearing things from Poodles that there isn't even a sound bite that's funny that they can use to promote our show. And here I am driving, hopefully, all the bits and the funny along with you. And it just started to make me shut down a little bit.
We always heard the phrase spurts of brilliance. Well, I heard spurts of brilliance.
We're number one in our time slot, and we're getting tons of great feedback from the listeners. But the best we could get was, well, that bit had like a little spurt of brilliance.
And we weren't perfect by any means. I mean, I've heard old air checks, and you have too. Or
Oof.
yeah, there's breaks. I'm like, geez.
Some are not great.
Yeah, but we weren't awful, and we weren't bad. We were funny, and there's stuff I laugh at now. I was like, okay, that's funny. There's stuff I cringe at, where I was like, ooh, we get canceled real quick.
We're gonna get to
As we
those
say.
maybe, yeah.
It was. I feel like we were deliberately being bemean. Like, I don't know. Partially because they didn't want us to quit because we were good, but also he didn't understand us, and I don't think he understood what we were doing.
Well, what we were doing was not a typical morning show because we didn't want to do that. It's been done before. We just wanted to be ourselves. We just wanted to be us, be funny.
That was it. It was that we always said, and we've said this, I think in episode 1, maybe episode 2, we didn't want to be stern, but what we wanted to take from stern was do something innovative. Do something that stands out from your competitors.
And please, no Poodles on the website.
Can we talk about this logo real quick, by the way?
Sure.
That always bugged me too. It looked like he made it in Microsoft Word. How can you take someone seriously who made their damn logo in Microsoft Word?
Hey man,
Like-
he got that AOL homepage in 97 and he stuck with it.
I think his email address, wasn't it AOL or like Prodigy or like Netscape or something? It still was. I know that's a sidebar, a little off topic, but how much did they spend on it? Because at one point I felt like they were spending a lot of money on him, but at the same time, I feel like to belittle us, they said he was doing it free as a favor and they were not paying for us, but they were paying for the other shows. Like, what did you think of this?
So it was called a perceptual, which is just a fancy word for sitting in a hotel room and listening to us. And they spent, I think, a total of $12,000 on this perceptual. They spent all this money on Poodles instead of helping us with what we needed or what we asked for. And what were those things, Darwin? A producer and giving us a living wage.
This is what we've been asked for all along, a producer to help book guests, help us produce things.
And
Maybe a little
instead,
bit of money for us.
we got a tree trunk.
And a wheel. Then there was like, when we did bring this up, well, he's doing it as a favor because you guys are so bad. That was kind of the attitude.
Well,
there.
you're just kind of an add-on because, you're pretty meaningless to this radio station.
And that was the attitude we constantly got. So these mixed messages all the time. I don't know. I think the other thing he did the second visit after trying to come out, and I was like, okay, was he started trying to he had to start to go to these websites. Do you remember this? And they were like big major market morning shows. Like I work with them. Look where they are, New York. I work with them. Look where they are, Chicago. And I remember thinking, okay, what's your point here? Are you going to get us a job in Chicago? Is that what you're saying? Well, no. That's not what I mean. What was the point of that?
This is what a real morning show looks like.
And they were
Big Jeff
everything
and the
we-
Bunny on 107.5.
These were everything we did not want to be.
What do they call in the industry? Yuckers and pukers? The people here
Yeah.
on the radio are like,
That's exactly. And what he never did, he spent all this time saying we needed to write down what your character is. Oh, and he couldn't stand. There was a picture of me on the website where my tongue was out. I was 20 something.
you had a
When
nice
you're
tongue.
20.
You have excellent oral hygiene and a variety of tongue scrapers. You should show it off.
But you know, I think that's the thing in your 20s. You're just always posing in pictures with like devil horns and your tongue out.
That's all we
right?
did when we had the original show. Bah. We were on the side of the station vehicle going, bah.
That was our look. It was a good look. That's what we did. He did, and it bothered him too. I don't know. He never explained why he hated that, but he felt like we were. I don't know what bothered him. He kept bringing that up. He never explained it. Did you ever understand that? What
No.
his hang up was?
No,
All that?
but I was just kind of, I tuned out at that point because I knew we weren't getting anywhere with him. I don't think I picked up anything useful from him. I picked up useful things when we would air check with our program director, you know, little things here and there that you do or say you don't really realize, but not from Poodles.
He wanted us to write down our characters, who we were on the air, and what we were.
I'm Cat and you're Darwin. Seriously, this is us.
But he didn't want Mommy and the Homo. That was the other part.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your character? Don't be yourself. Think of a character. Okay.
But be yourself.
Oh, God.
What he never did was sit down with us and say, well, who are you guys? And what is your vision of the show? And why do you want to be so different? What is it about shows out there that you don't like? What is it about shows that you're trying to do differently? What is your vision? Never once did he ask, what is your vision for this show?
Because it was the Johnny Bravo syndrome. Huge Brady Bunch fan. They wanted Greg to be Johnny Bravo, and they got him because the suit fit. We were in the time slot. The suit fit. Here you go. That's it. Doesn't matter who you are.
What's life without a second act? Darwin and Cat are back.
I love the meme that makes its way around Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Threads and whatever you're using, whoever's using it. It says, old man yells at cloud. It's from The Simpsons. At some point, Poodles added me on Facebook and I accepted it. Why? I don't know. Against my better judgment, I did. And one day, old man shouts at a cloud. He was ranting and raving about AT&T. Everything, all day, multiple posts for weeks on end about AT&T. And it reminded me, it was just devoting weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of his Facebook page to bitching about AT&T. Okay, sure. We all hate our cell phone providers, and if you don't, you will. I used to hate Verizon. Now I hate AT&T, and I have Verizon again. All's forgiven. I'll hate Verizon someday again, I'm sure. Unless they sponsor our podcast, then I will love them forever. Money talks, all right? If it's whispering, not good enough. If it's paying, it talks.
And it's so insane because he was constantly saying that nobody cares about what your gripes are that you have in life or what irks you. And I remember specifically, he just had a fit over this really great segment that we did. We took a lot of calls about how bad Time Warner Cable was. He freaking hated that segment despite like the huge reaction we had from the listeners. Do you remember? Because everyone had a story that they wanted to share, but Poodle said it's not on my list, so we can't discuss that.
They called it a waste of time.
Oh, that too.
Do you remember the origin? That was my neighbor, my cable, the apartment I lived in, the cable box was mislabeled and they kept cutting off my cable instead of my deadbeat neighbor's cable.
Yeah.
You remember
Yes.
this? And it turned into everybody hated Time Warner Cable. And I thought it was such a relatable segment. Everybody wanted to call and complain about their horror stories. But there he was, ranting and raving for weeks on end on Facebook about AT&T. Now, I don't like to defend AT&T because, like I said, I'm not a fan, okay? They weren't the problem here. It was an old man who didn't understand technology. And I don't want to defend them, but it was not their fault. It was something clearly through these posts I realized he screwed up. Of course, you know, he had to blame them. Man, here's the capstone, though, all right? His ranting, because he was just irritating me. All this old pent-up stuff came up, but here's really came up. You have satellite radio, and I do too. And do you ever listen to the Yacht Rock channel they bring out every summer?
I do.
I love that. But one of the many problems with Poodles, he is perpetually uncool and desperate to make you think he's cool. And this is the root cause of why he didn't get it when it came to yacht rock.
You should probably explain what yacht rock is for those who don't know.
Yeah, that would be helpful. So yacht rock, it's not a format per se, but it's kind of a collection of music that's super uncool. So think late 70s or early 80s soft rock.
Think Hall & Oates, Maneater, or Steal Away by Robbie Dupree.
And the fact that it's uncool is what makes it cool. It's about a vibe. It's not about the songs. It's not about songs that were hits or not. It's the idea that some of the songs were hits are shunned. That's actually kind of the idea. There's a whole searchable database out there, and it's see if they're yacht or nyat. Get it? Like nyat, N-A, yacht. Ha ha. These guys came up with it. It was just, they made a web series out of it. When someone like Poodles, who's chronically I just can't, why?
You go. You go.
Perpetually uncool like him. Poodles runs into something like this. They don't know what to do with it. Their little lizard brain, desperation to be cool, pushes them to try to, I got to make it cool. I got to be cool. Must make it cool. And this is where he goes off the rails and embarrasses himself.
Well, I gotta jump in, Darwin, because there is no way to make it cool, and that is the point. He didn't get the fun, and he didn't get the irony of yacht rock. I mean, you blast this music at a party, you wear a captain's hat, and you drink a Harvey Wallbanger. It's just fun.
Yes. Or Reuniti on Ice.
Yes.
Because it's nice. You got it. He became obsessed with hating yacht rock radio on Sirius XM. He kept posting on their page. He kept tagging it. And by the way, it's a pretty damn good channel. They do a really good job with it. So he became obsessed with what he called stiffs, songs that were not hits. He was taking pictures of the radio in his car and writing on the images. One of them said, yo, unfamiliar, comma, stiff. And in all caps, stop, exclamation point, sad face. It was Little River Band, Man on Your Mind. Like, that's what's wrong with that song.
Oh, come on.
But then, and he kept doing that. But then the icing on the cake, he put up a post on Facebook and it said, quote, report. Okay. Like he's yacht rock Karen. Poodles. Report.
He's going to speak to the yacht rock manager right now.
He's the yacht rock HOA. Report all non-yacht rock songs heard on yacht rock radio in this thread. Who are you?
It's like, okay, sir, I have your complaint of Sniffin' Tears, driver's seat is not technically yacht rock. I will kick this up to the appropriate channels.
Rupert Holmes, answering machine, rubbed him the wrong way big time that day. There was a huge back and forth in the comments about Georgie Porgy by Toto. Georgie Porgy, pumpkin pie.
I think all of Toto qualifies. They have my blessing.
It's not high on the yacht scale, but he was it wasn't about that. It was mad. It was a stiff. And again, a chorus of people who didn't get it. And like you said, he doesn't get the point of it. And this summed up him for me. It summed up my frustration with him. He did not get it. He was listening to the station, oblivious to the audience. It was this whole, he didn't get us. We were the morning show version of yacht rock to him, right?
Right.
Like this guy was being paid to make morning shows relevant, yet he couldn't get something that was easily Google, like a Google search right away, would have delivered a ton of info on what yacht rock was about.
Anything that didn't go along with Poodle's cultural revolution, according to his plan and manifesto, was off the table.
Exactly.
Now, you're a student of history. You know what I'm getting at.
Absolutely. That way you phrased it's perfect. He decided he knew everything about everything because in his mind, he's the greatest. He is the best.
The poor peasants don't know. Trust us.
That's his attitude. He was convinced it was supposed to be a nostalgic format to help him relive his carefree days. No.
When he would
not even
shuffle
close.
Around his yacht in his bathrobe and slippers.
Or dream of one, right? When he was doing weekends on the radio station. Yacht rock is for people who weren't even alive then, okay? Or they were too young like us to really know the songs. Those songs came to us later in life. And we saw this when he was trying to, I'm going to put air quotes, coach us. Right? He's everything that's wrong with FM radio. He is why it is dying. He doesn't get it. Yacht rock is not about playing the hits. It's not about playing anything familiar. It's not about repetition. It's about the vibe. It's the same reason there's a resurgence of 40s music. It's a small one, but it's there. I teach high school. I hear kids will know songs from the 40s. It was in a video game series called Fallout. They don't know the artist. They don't know the song titles or if it's a hit or not. They just the vibe they get from listening. It's an evolution that they he's an out of touch dinosaur. It's not a meteor that's going to kill him, Poodles is not going to die from a meteor. It's his addiction to trying to desperately be cool when he's never been cool to begin with.
And let me tell you one thing, Poodles. If I'm going to have a pina colada and getting caught in the rain, I don't want it to be with you.
That was brilliant. I applaud that. That's the
I
greatest.
stand by that.
This could have turned into so many puns, and we
Tiptoed around those landmines.
did. Because I'm thinking of some from Baker Street, Africa. I mean, they're all coming to me, right?
If I'm blessing the rains down in Africa, Poodles, it's not going to be next to you.
See, we could have done this all day.
My private eyes will never watch you, Poodles.
What a fool believes, fill in the blank. Kenny Loggins is very disappointed. All right, we go steal away. I mean, they're all coming to me now. We resisted all this. We were so good. Okay, we're going to be good, right? We're going to be good.
Deep breath, yeah.
This was a moment. This all came full circle for me. I'm reading this. He even wrote some article or blog somewhere that he got published. He was really proud of it. And a lot of people in the industry who'd been there a long time were cheering him on. And I don't want to knock you, okay? Yeah, the industry was the industry.
Which industry? The Westminster Poodle Show?
I understand FM has an audience, but you've got to think outside the box. You've got to innovate, and that's what is killing it. And this guy is just patting himself on the back like, yeah, I didn't get it, and I'm not embarrassed at all and have no self-awareness of it. This was our show. He never stopped for a moment to go, why do people like this? Why is it different? Instead, I'm going to criticize it, and it doesn't fit into, like you said.
We are no Johnny Bravo.
I realized at this point, I started trying to reply to him saying, no, you don't get it, and trying to get him to go look for it. And I realized it's futile. And I realized, you know what? This guy was toxic to our friendship, your friendship and my friendship.
He formed the first cracks that eventually became huge.
Massive.
Mm-hmm.
He was toxic to our show. He really caused a lot of hurt. So I just unfriended him. I don't know why I accepted his friend request in the first place. And I just don't understand why I was like, oh, okay. Maybe because I wasn't mad at the point. And I think a lot of that I just forgot about until the AT&T thing was like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, it
Who
all brought
cares?
it back.
But the yacht rock thing, when I realized, oh, this moron doesn't get it. And I know this sounds a little serious, but I hope somebody can laugh at this, like the irrelevancy of somebody who didn't get something that's so easy to get. All right, Kat, any last words for Poodles?
I hope you Poodles ride like the wind out of here. You're out of touch. And I hope you choke on your pina colada.
Say hi to Rosanna as you go sailing away.
This is it. This is it. Next time on the Darwin and Cat podcast.
All right, baby. Be less tears.
There'll be less head trauma and berets.
I can't guarantee less head trauma. I can't even talk.
30% fewer berets on the next show, but all the head trauma.